Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our fourth game of the day coming up here. Union Gaming versus NoT today. Oh, man, nothing but epic games today, Blaze. But here we've got another good one. South America versus South America.
Yeah, Peru versus Peru as well. I got a little Peru powwow going on
Ooh.
here, so expecting some big things from both sides. Obviously, they're more common to scrim against one another than anybody else. So I think this is a pretty evolved metagame between the two teams. The draft obviously shows some experience here as they start banning out heroes that are a little bit different. So that especially phase two, like Nature's Prophet is I think the only one that we see consistently in that banning pool. So very interesting to see. And obviously they know a lot of stuff that we don't, but we can speculate, say that they do have a lot of potential on these heroes in particular, that maybe a support Roman Kunkka, maybe solo mid one, who knows. But for now, it's going to be a pretty interesting draft. It's all going to be on the side of Not Today Center on Smash, seeing what he can accomplish on the mid lane and kind of trying to revolve and make sure that he's set up for success as much as possible. Union Gaming trying to set that down with their current draft of hard disables. If you get to choose to lock down Smash above all else, then you're in pretty good shape there. So I like their opener, but we'll see what they can accomplish going into the mid to late game aspect of the draft.
Yeah, definitely. Really nothing too surprising here. Fairly standard picks aside from the Earthshaker grab this early on, but against the Faceless Void, we've talked about it a whole bunch. A great hero to deal with the Chronosphere, so prioritizing him a little bit more as he most likely would have been banned out. I'm actually curious about the bets here, though. What are the Peru fans thinking? Who has the edge here? And, oh, as luck not be have it, there's no bet. What a bummer. What a big-time bummer that is, Blaze.
Well, I guess we can speculate. I mean, looking at recent results, Not Today has been able to pull ahead of them in majority of their clashes. Still, Union Gaming has taken a lot of strides in the past several months, improving their skills. I mean, I've cast these guys for well over a year now, and they have, from when they were essentially just a semi-pro team, barely winning out in the top-level amateur tournaments, and now shifting into what they are now. I think that this is definitely one of the most improved teams you can see. So heart goes out to them and their improvements thus far, but not today. They just seem so dominant. So if I had to bet, I would probably go with NT.
Yeah, they're pretty even, 2-2 and 2-3 in the standings. So this is a potential deciding game between these two. I favorite NoT today just a little bit. The power of Smash, as they say in Lacelles we trust, in terms of South American Dota, and in Smash we trust. So I have some faith here, and we'll see, though. Union Gaming pick up Doom with their third pick, and adds a nice carry to their team, possibly headed to the off lane, but a little bit more difficult for him on the Dire side. I think more likely he'll be doing a little bit of safe lane farming here. There is still a Tide Hunter available, if that's something Union you're interested in utilizing for the off lane, and another good hero for trying to deal with the Faceless Void.
Yeah, so I mean, they have a lot of good counter heroes. They have a good heroes that can counterplay in general by creating obstructions, by eliminating abilities. But as far as actually making things happen, they really only have the Shadow Shaman. I mean, the Earthshaker can kind of initiate and kind of go for like the blink stuns, but he generally prefers to counter initiate. Wait for the opportunity, wait for the chrono to dispel, and then go in for the big one. Go in for that counterplay. But they really are going to have to force the issue on some of these heroes, or they're going to get a little bit too farmed up. Faceless Void, he's going to be just focusing on his late game potential, getting some real damage in there. Sand King, of course, is going to be more oriented around farming up the jungle and clearing out stacks. So in the end, Union Gaming need heroes that can make things happen, because right now they have some good heroes if the enemy is exposed, if they're out of position. But if Not Today play defensively, as I think they should in this drafting environment, I think that there's still a lot of potential for them to avoid the clashes until they're ready to fight.
5 seconds remaining.
I think that's certainly a fair assessment, and quite a bit of wombo for NoT Today already in the works here. Sand King, a great addition, and a nice efficient farmer. We've seen him do a lot of work in the jungle. Skywrath Mage has still made it through this far, and if Union don't pick him up here, I would be shocked if NoT Today don't grab him. We've talked about how well that hero synergizes with the Sand King, and also just the obvious synergy between Skywrath and the Void.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. I mean, is a target that can be picked off pretty quickly. If you just see like when the Shadow Shaman has a blink,
10
he'll die in
seconds
the duration of a
remaining.
hex with all these nukes flying out. But all the same, if he's the one that's able
5
to start
seconds
things off, or maybe
remaining.
the Faceless Void is, there's a lot of merit to it. But for now, we're going to see the carry pickup for Ben Haas. Does love to go
Radiant
late, and
team
Luna
pick.
is one of those heroes that he's going to be able to accomplish that with while still making an impact on the mid game. But as you mentioned it, the Skywrath Mage going to be
Dire
coming,
team
and
ban.
we'll have to see who's running what. I think Mystico runs the Skywrath more often, but obviously, he is a very versatile player who can make things happen on either him or the Sand King.
Yeah. Pretty straightforward pick there, no
10
surprise. And we've
seconds
seen
remaining.
basically this lineup so many times in this current
5
meta, this
seconds
patch, and
remaining.
I guess some would argue it's getting a little stale, but
Hey, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. This is
exactly,
really,
it's,
really strong.
yeah, there's no
And
reason not to do it.
Radiant team ban.
so we're
Good.
going to see Bandit come out. The Templar Assassin is an interesting one. I actually would not prefer to have a TA in this lineup. I mean, obviously, that would
Yeah.
have the Void in the safe lane, and the Razor would be, or sorry, the Void in the off lane, the Razor in the safe lane.
Dire
But,
team pick.
I mean, are they really that afraid of the mid matchup? We'll see what they end up picking, and it'll make more sense now. The Zeus coming out for
Radiant
this
team
will
pick.
accomplish a lot of different things, and it would have difficulty with the TA. You'd have to send like 3 or 4 arc lightnings her direction just to actually get some direct damage on her. But yeah, as I look at it, like he's going to actually be able to, like I was talking about how squishy Skywrath is, and he's going to be dropping down very quickly to these burst combos from the Zeus. It's also going to enable them to just in general scout out the Sand King, put his Blink Dagger on cooldown perhaps,
10
and
seconds
really make
remaining.
him wish he was a different hero in a lot of different circumstances. And it
5
has plenty of
seconds
potential
remaining.
to burst down heroes like Razor, which rely on staying alive throughout the fight.
Reserve time.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This is just this is going to be tough for Zeus. That's my master assessment.
I mean, I don't know. If he has good
10
defensive
seconds
play from the
remaining.
Earthshaker to help him out, bail him out of difficult situations, he
Yeah.
should be able to have a lot of
5
kill potential
seconds
against all these
remaining.
heroes. And that's what Zeus is about. You can't always just look at the negative and say, oh, well, if one Meepo dies, they all die. You look at it and say, well, what can he actually do with what he has? And there's a huge amount of potential to kill off any one of these heroes, none of them having that much raw HP. I mean, you can consider the backtrack, and that might be a little thorn in his side. But in general, this is a pick that can potentially insta-gib any one of his opponents with just a little bit of help from one ally.
Yeah, that's true. There's just a fair bit of gap closing. You know, you've got the long-range Skywrath to start things off. If he gets hit with a concussive, then, forget about it. He's initiated on, and that's where things start to get a little more difficult. You've got Void, who can hop on him with the Chronosphere. You've got Sand King with long-range initiation. Maybe not the worst game for the Zeus, but there are plenty of tools on the field to jump on him if his positioning is not immaculate. So you are right. You can't only look at the negatives. I think it will be not. It won't be a cakewalk for him, I guess, is
Sure.
maybe the best way to put it.
Oh, I definitely agree. He can be caught out 6 ways a Sunday. With the Blink Sand King, with the Chronosphere, there will be a lot of issues, but if they start the fights the way they want to, start with Mass Serpent Wards on the tower, follow it up with one good Fisher, Zeus is going to be able to kill off one person that gets caught out by any combos. So I think it has plenty of space to succeed. Maybe having to go for an early Veil or Blink or Force Staff just to dodge out those Chronos and maybe Epicenters. So
Yeah, I think
there,
an early blink is definitely almost a necessity for Citadel this game. Maybe even a Yule's. I just like the mobility items in general on Zeus. I know Merlini swears by the BOTs on Zeus. I don't know how viable that is in competitive, but I think mobility items in general is kind of the right idea. Yule's Blink, Force Staff kind of core, and he has enough damage output that you can sort of think of Veil as almost more of a later game item, because before then his damage is pretty ridiculous already, and as he continues to put those points in static field, it lets him scale a little bit more into that mid to late game.
yeah, especially against this team lineup. I mean, you have the
Yeah.
maximum base HP of 606. That's with 3 branches here on Ewo. So you're already going to be able to make a pretty big impact. And yeah, I guess the Veil is kind of, I wouldn't say luxury, but it can be delayed until a second or third item. And I
Yeah.
think the Blink Dagger is probably the most important thing here.
Yeah, I don't think rushing Veil is really that viable, just because it doesn't give you enough, and unless you have like a 4 protect 1 and you're always in the back line or something, it just makes you so susceptible. I mean, Zeus is not particularly fast, and the Veil just doesn't really help him tank up. It doesn't give him any kind of reset mechanism, and Even though it ups his damage, it's that glass cannon build that is certainly a little bit risky. But we'll see how it works out. Union Gaming on the Dire side, they'll offlane the Doom. They'll throw Citadel Zeus in the mid lane, and they'll do that defensive try built around the Ben Jazz Luna. And they'll have Jericho on the Shadow Shaman, and they've got Xander here on the Earthshaker helping him out. Soku will throw down a ward to get some vision into this area, and I believe that should block the pole camp, right? Isn't that right on the edge of the box there?
But they're going to get the first blood, perhaps.
Initiation onto Shadow Shaman. Yeah, Masoku starts it off. Mihawk hops forward. It's actually Smash that snipes the bonus gold with a straight power shot. But a first blood for Not Today. They're off to a damn good start.
Yeah, and no, that does not block out the spawn.
It's too
just,
far over.
Just there to scout, and they certainly saw what they needed to. Kind of hiding behind the tree line just outside of Fog of War and finding the perfect opening to start this game off right.
Yeah. Where does the side of this box end? Is it on this tree? Is it right around here?
Yeah, it's around that area because there's the ward spot in here that will block it, but anything to the east of that won't. So it's around this region, not perfect, but
gotcha. So I guess the value of putting the ward slightly further out is it's harder to de-ward here.
Oh, definitely.
It's much less of a predictable position. So, all right, interesting stuff coming out of Not Today. Dire side will put. Oh, okay. Phew. Both sides put a ward down in this position. Color blindness playing with there. I thought those were double Dire wards for a second. And so they'll get a little bit of vision of their top rune, and Dire will put their second ward here. Rune control wards, the name of the game for Citadel. Will he be able to get any runes, though, is a different question. First one goes the way of Not Today. Mystico, with the invisibility, does go first point in concussive shot, and already giving Citadel a run for his money. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Mihawk is solo, and they're looking for an opening. Jericho will find it, skills the shackles, does connect him in here. Xander will throw out a fissure, but time walk to the low ground. Mihawk will live.
Yeah, living and purchasing a lot of regen, he will be able to Tenga and salve up. He will only have one more time walk for this laning phase, though, so has to be very careful how he approaches it. But going the long way around, he'll just stay under the tower as best as possible, and this leaves Union Gaming to focus on the stacking and the pulling. If they can time it right, they can still pull to the hard camp, the Dark Troll Summoners, and with that double exchange, they should be able to deny out the wave. So that makes it very difficult for Void to find anything here, and Mihawk really risks sitting at level 1 for a very long time.
Yeah. That's why I thought this ward placement was so strange. I mean, sure, it doesn't get dewarded, but I mean, I guess they don't know that they're not going to put a lot of stock into dewarding, but
space created for Smash, man. If he knows where the supports are and they're focused there, he can do his thing on mid lane. All
right, so sacrifice your Void for the Wind Ranger. That 4 protect 1, coming in handy. I guess they do have a set of sentries, and they'll put one down here looking for that vision in the initial jungle here. Void will grab that second point, so at least finding that first skill point in Backtrack, which is actually sort of a milestone for the off-lane Void. So steps in the right direction. Doom finding a similar struggle in the Dire off-lane. Will just retreat to the jungle and find his first Devour.
Radiant's bottom tower is
so
under attack.
Double damage rune going to come out for Smash, bottled up there. That should give him a lot of potential to deny as well as CS. Generally speaking, the denies are very difficult to do against a Zeus with mana, because Arc Lightning does do a nice chunk of 85 damage. So usually you don't have that at the early stages, but with DD rune, you can say otherwise, and that might be enough to give him an edge in the CS count. But still pressure coming in. We do see Xander kind of waiting. He didn't do his actual signature thing where he goes down to the off lane and does a fissure block to pull back the wave, and as a result, we do see Doom, he's focused on the jungle, and now going back to the well. He's spent so much time off the lane and out of the jungle.
Yeah, he even picked up the Satyr Tormentor, which gives you that regeneration aura and kind of helps out if you want to jungle a little bit. You can, tank the mud golems. You can at least kill the small Satyr camp and this stuff. He'll rendezvous with the courier, pick up his boots, and he just wants to head back down bottom. Creeps are shoving into the tower, so looking to find some of that juicy experience. But by the time he gets down here, the creeps are already going to be away from the tower. I guess Iwo will continue to push in, but slow start for the Doom. And Mihawk, even though we thought he'd have a really rough time, he's finding decent experience. Halfway through level 3 and 4 last hits. So could be a lot worse for him.
So, in this position, he's actually going to get more out of the lane than Doom has been to this point. I mean, obviously, the Devourer will allow Doom to catch up a little more rapidly, but by then, the fights are going to start breaking out. We haven't really talked about it much, but this solo bit Wind Ranger has endless potential for big plays happening and a lot of damage coming forth. It's going to be an early build-up with just a Null Talisman to start, but I would have to say the best professional Wind Ranger that I've seen has been played by Miracle in SEA, and I've seen that quite a few times. So generally speaking, the build in that regard is Maelstrom and Blink Dagger. and maybe a Force Staff on top. So all about maneuvering, all about getting those big shackles off, but the Maelstrom in particular is really good with Focus Fire.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think we've seen Smash play Wind Ranger at least once or twice earlier on in the group stage of this tournament. So something that he is certainly accustomed to. And as it always comes back to with Wind Ranger, if you're good enough to connect with the shackles left and right, then you can make the hero look completely imba. And if you're not finding those shackles, then she looks a little bit lackluster. So very skill dependent, but smart item choices so far. Grabs the magic stick, a core item against Zeus, and already up to 10 stick charges. Zeus, he's doing okay in the mid. 17 last hits, 0 denies compared to the 32 and 5 of Wind Ranger. Obviously not winning the mid lane, but he hasn't died yet, and finding a baseline of farm, also getting that valuable experience halfway through level 5. So could certainly be a lot worse for him.
Yeah. So in this position, it's just going to be kind of passive play for a little bit. We might see some roaming, but actually Courier Snipe could come out. Now this would take way too many right clicks. He could try to go for the time walk, but even then, you're just committing yourself further, and you're not really going to come up with anything. So,
yeah. And when they see you time walk, then it's sort of like a target on your head of, he has no escape, get him, go. Especially with that Earthshaker missing off the map.
So who do you favor in terms of a passive laning phase? Do you think one team is going to be better off if they can just go into the 10-minute mark without any kills on the board?
Yeah, I think it's not today, mostly because of the Sand King. He can farm the jungle a little more effectively. I haven't really kept eyes on him. He does have a few stacks up. So I think that is what really tips the scales, even though
I like this flank. This is good.
Yeah, look at Doom and think the opposite, but they'll find Jericho. The smoke rotation proves very successful. It is Masoku that gets the last hit, so that'll push him one step closer to the Blink Dagger. 1,400 gold on him already.
Yep, it has a double stack waiting for him back at home, so as soon as he returns to the jungle, he should be able to farm that up within a minute or two, and that's going to be pretty huge. But I did mention it once, I'll reiterate that just because you have a Blink Dagger and Epicenter doesn't mean you're guaranteed the initiation. If a Thunder God's Wrath is able to predict when it's coming out, he hits the R key right when you hit yours, you're just going to be a sitting duck epicentering the ground. So you have to be very careful about positioning yourself, timing it, and most often using the Smoke of the Seed to cover your ulti.
I love that you're a complete optimist about Zeus and I'm a complete pessimist, and we both like are clinging to the complete opposite aspects of like best case scenario, you know, he can stop the initiation. I'm like, yeah, worst case scenario, he gets blinked on and dies. I mean, we're both right to some degree, but it's just funny how Zeus is so volatile back and forth that way.
Yeah, I guess it's just your experience with the hero, like watching a high-level player play him, because in your pub play, you never really see what the hero is capable of. But not just dewarding, but any hero with a global damage ability is going to be able to disrupt a lot of things. So the last Zeus game we saw was able to like prevent blink initiations a couple of times over at critical moments, and I think that Citadel is capable of this as well. So we'll see. Obviously, if he gets hit by a shackle, he's completely worthless, but I want to be the glass half full kind of guy and see the value in this pick.
I like that. I think it definitely does have some value. I don't think it's all bad. It's I don't know. I feel like most of the time when I see Zeus, it doesn't really work out that well. Like he does some damage, they do some stuff, but then once the other team realizes that, hey, we need to focus this Zeus a little bit more, and they start putting more pressure on him and, you know, sort of taking notes towards his movements, that's when, towards the late game, it's Strug City for Zeus. But I may also be a little biased. I've spent some time debating the merits of Zeus with Merlini, and I don't know. He hasn't convinced me of all of the Zeus glories.
You have to play at least devil's advocate for that one, because he's got to be so adamant.
Yeah, absolutely. Mihawk will find his level 6, and this is always the milestone for the off-lane Void you look for. As soon as he grabs that Chronosphere, you'll see him leave the lane, and now he's rotating towards mid, looking for an opportunity to perhaps grab a kill. And this could be the first death of Citadel if he's not careful. He will go bottom, hoping for an 8-minute rune spawn in his favor. Checking out for some ward coverage on his way. He will not be so lucky. Rune is up top. It's a double damage, and Mihawk will just leave it for Smash, who is also hasted up. And this is a potential sticky situation here. We'll see the wraparound commence. Looking for someone in the jungle, and they will do the wraparound. If they're patient, they might find the courier, which is on its way out. But they won't even need to power shot to start it off. There's your Chronosphere on Citadel. Smash on the outside with the double damage, and nothing the Zeus can do. Ooh, meanwhile, down bottom, as that's happening, Shadow Shaman will get dove on. And not today. They'll find 2 kills across the map.
That's before Basoka's Blink Dagger. Just in a good position from their kind of movement down on the bottom lane. They know how slow Shadow Shaman can be. So good opening there. Pretty much as soon as the Void got in that position on the high ground where they didn't have any wards to scout it out, that was a guaranteed kill on the Zeus. So he goes down. We'll see if he can get any vengeance with that Thunder Gods. But for now, it's going to be some push on the top lane that just can't match what we've already seen down bottom.
Yeah, tower's already fallen. Razor, we haven't mentioned it, but he went for a very fast Midas and has just used all that money to invest in a mech, and it's just about complete. So that's pretty darn big. Up top, Jericho, I almost said Jakiro, will get dove on, and Sand King will find another kill with the Sandstorm. This will end up being a 2-for-1 tower trade. Up top, Union Gaming doing a lot of damage to this tower. There's still a Radiant Glyph available, so they could use it to delay even more. No, they'll just hand over the last hit to Luna, but they do grab the tier 2 in the bottom lane. They find 2 kills in the mix, and if we just glance at the graph, we'll see Not Today with a huge lead, 7,500 gold, 5,000 experience.
Yeah, I mean, the 5-hero kill lead is immense. The fact that they've been able to farm the jungle more efficiently than Doom has is absolutely huge for the Sand King as well. Like, he's got Arcane's Blink at not even 10 minutes. Yeah, that's absurd. But on top of that, because they get those towers, now Smash is going to have his Maelstrom. At this time, can start skilling up his ultimate and start wreaking havoc. And I do want to highlight there be people that are confused about this because I think it might have changed recently. Oh, actually, some good stuns coming out. Can they get the other Lightning Bolt, though? Just the ulti is necessary here, but the Lightning Bolt is the shorter cooldown. Unfortunately, waiting for it means he gets hit by the Burrow Strike, misses the Lightning Bolt on the ground, and that is going to be the life of the Wind Ranger remaining. Yeah.
Beautiful stun from Masoku, and there's that early Blink Dagger coming in handy as it keeps the Wind Ranger alive. But on with the analysis of recent changes, Blaze. I'm captivated here.
Yeah, actually, I'm honestly not sure if it was just not like this way before. If it was when the Maelstrom changed to being able to proc multiple lightnings at once, or I don't know. But I tested this recently within the past 2 weeks. And when you use Focus Fire, even without an Aghanim Scepter, even though the tooltip says that it reduces the damage of unique attack modifiers, it does not impact MKB or Maelstrom at all. So I can't tell you if that's a bug or it's just a tooltip error. In either case, Smash is going to be wreaking havoc when he drops this Focus Fire.
In either case, there will be chain lightnings flying aplenty, and if you think it's hogwash, well, then we'll probably have some anecdotal evidence here coming up pretty soon once he gets that big item, and we'll check it out. We'll do a little investigative journalism there. But yeah, it's pretty ridiculous how much damage you can do. Razor with a ridiculously early mech. That is another big problem. Luna did not go for the early Midas. Instead, the Helm of the Dominator. A great farming tool. You can dominate a creep and start stacking up the Ancients. Has, well, done the latter. There's at least a double stack here. But we'll probably start stacking it up for some improved efficiency. Still not really putting the Luna in fighting shape, and you see Benjaz just in the base defending a tier 3 tower at the 11-minute mark.
Yeah.
Never a good sign.
We're looking at the merits for Union Gaming. They do have a Doom, a hero that can counteract so many different things about Not Today's lineup. They can try to prevent the initiation with Thunder Gods, and if they can turn it around, I mean, they have great counter-initiation tools. Zender is only level 4, so those aren't really online just yet, but in the right position, a good Fisher could still disrupt things quite a bit. So we'll see them making the defensive move here in the mid lane. The tower's going to take some shots, but yeah, I think it's been an interesting exchange there. With the Power Shot and the Arc Lightning both going out, they know he's smoked up. I mean, that's pretty much implicit at this point. So I guess they're going to be staying together as 4 at pretty much all times.
Yep. Smash finds the Illusion Rune down bottom, takes some damage from Zeus. Luna's here with a Lucent Beam, but not enough to secure the kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the rest of Not Today pressuring this tier 1 tower as Union. They clump up in the mid and look for another tower exchange situation. Luna going for a BKB with that early Ogre Club. Smash sips up the bottle, sends it back home. Will clear up the creep wave, and again, Not Today just find the better trade here. They've done a lot of damage to this tier 1 tower in the top, and Union, they can't even make it to the tier 1 mid lane to do any kind of significant damage. It will end up being a free tower despite the glyph coming out. I think, the creep wave gets cleaned up. Maybe Union can come to its defense, but yeah, there's Masoku coming in. They'll clear up the wave. And now this baby should fall. There is a Blink Dagger on the Doom, so something that Not Today need to be a little bit cautious of. And I don't know that it's been revealed quite yet.
Yeah, but I mean, if he gets that Blink Initiation, he's only going to be able to accomplish so much anyways. Like, it will take somebody out of the fight, but most often will not kill them unless the Fisher connects as well. So we'll see. Obviously, they have to chain up their abilities one way or another, so why not go with Doom, Fisher, and Thunder God's Wrath? But even still, it's not going to automatically put them back in the game. They need to make a really good use of it and try to make things happen. In the meantime, the Chronosphere is obviously off cooldown. The Wind Ranger has 1 point in Focus Fire. It's pushing down on bottom lane to kind of force Union Gaming's hand at defending while on multiple fronts, but looks like with this smoke, they want to move out.
And there's that Blink Dagger now picked up on the Wind Ranger, but it ended up being a 2-for-0 tower trade for NoT today. And, whoa, Sand King almost caught, but we'll be able to blink away. Ewo gets doomed, but Angel's all by his lonesome. There's no follow-up here. Sand King will have a Burrow Strike to slow him up, and Ewo will survive with plenty of hit points to spare. Still has the mech, and will be able to heal himself up if they're going to take a fight, but they don't even need to. Not today. We'll just back out and be okay with the gold lead they've secured for themselves. 10,000 gold, 7,500 experience, smashed with an invisibility rune. He has been all over this rune control, and now looking for the opening. Maybe they'll find it on Jericho. Mihawk coming in, and, well, Jericho will just get clicked down. Power shot to the face will be enough to bring him down. Rasta wards were used, and to little avail. Smash takes a Lucent Beam on the run. Sipping up that bottle. It's now empty, but he's just too speedy with the Wind Run and the Phase Boots.
Yeah, very close to ulti range for Zeus, but we'll actually note that Zeus has yet to throw out a successful ultimate. I mean, obviously...
What is an unsuccessful ultimate?
Not getting any kills. I mean,
oh, has he used it at all?
I thought that there was a point where he could have used it to try for Wind Ranger's life when he instead lightning bolted on the ground when she was hiding that little nook
right.
left of the tier 1.
Yeah.
But because he had to go back to base, I don't think he ever used it. So
yeah, I don't think we've seen a Thunder God's Wrath yet. He's playing this one passive.
That's unfortunately
Zeus.
I think the most important part of the hero is just getting that big ultimate global range nuke out. I mean, the lightning bolt's great for scouting, for a lot of things, but not enough by itself.
Oh, down here in the bottom lane, Mihawk initiates onto Benjaz. They've got a silence to follow up. He'll survive for a second, but they still chop him down.
Oh, backtrack.
Mihawk with the big backtracks lives.
Oh.
Now he time walks away with 9 hit points to spare. The cavalry has arrived. Masoku TP's in, and we'll blink forward. There's Smash, and you saw the
countdown.
focus fire.
Citadel, he needs to pop this ulti ASAP. The TP home. Is there a backtrack? There's a backtrack on the ultimate. The Thunder God's Wrath misses.
Are you kidding me?
RNGG, 4 points in backtrack, 2 OP. Thunder God's Wrath, the worst spell in the game.
Wow. You actually don't see this build that often with 4 points in backtrack, 1 in time lock, but here it proved successful.
It's the piss off Zeus build, man.
It saved Mihawk's life multiple times there. Oh my gosh. That is probably the most depressing feeling as a Zeus, when you have that moment of, I have this kill and it's global and backtrack. What are you going to do? Sorry. That's just, ugh.
Game is hard.
Yeah,
but
it's a rough life for Union
I mean,
Gaming.
this is a team with a Zeus that has 0 kills on the board. I don't know. I might have to turn over to your side, at least for this game, of this not being a valuable pick.
Yeah, it just hasn't worked out. And, I mean, not today. We're off to a great start with that early first blood. And they just haven't let up the momentum. We'll see Benjaz up top get caught in a shackle and all the follow-up damage. Mystico takes a Doom, but, again, Union Game just aren't on the same page. That's the second Doom now that Angel's just thrown out with no follow-up. And the recipient will be able to survive easily. The rest of NoT today just kind of toying with him as they reinitiate. Rasta wards come down again. Same story as the Doom. They use these big ultimates, but NoT today can easily just disengage as they walk away. Smash doesn't even disengage. He goes in and just power shots Jericho to the face. Oh, man. Playing with his food before he eats it.
All right, baby steps, boys. Step 1, get a kill. That's what you need to do. You just need to say, okay, if we need to pop 3 ultimates for one person, it doesn't matter. Just kill somebody. Preferably Smash, but really, you'll take what you can get. Because, like I said, the Blink Dagger on Doom doesn't mean anything if they can't follow it up, and so far he's been pretty much all on his own. So now we have 5 full HP heroes that are getting tankier as the game goes along, and the Zeus is still level 9.
Yeah, it's getting rough. Still no magic resistance items. I don't see any hood or pipe on the way. Pipe tends to be a pretty core item against the Zeus, but frankly, they don't need it. Just raw HP has been enough, and praying to the RNG gods. Ewo now picking up his point booster. We'll see Mihawk probably moving into a Maelstrom with that set of gloves of haste there as they secure another Tier 2 tower kill. Chronosphere from Mihawk. Not much follow-up damage as he takes some decent damage from the Zeus, but will get mech'd up and just heads back to safety. Ends up being yet another free tower for NoT today. Only 1 outer tower remaining for Union. And it's this Tier 2 right here, smack dab in the middle lane.
This is so hard of a hill to climb back up. I mean, if they could try to go for a turnaround on Roshan, that would be something, but yeah, right now they are just really far behind. Even these Ancients are being covered up, so he can't stack anymore. The Sentry Wards are in place there, so the Helm of the Dominator clearly laying out his intentions. Benhaz wants to stack, wants to farm those stacks, and in this case, he'll get a little bit of gold from it, but it's not enough to put him anywhere near the top 2 slots. 10.5k both on Wind Ranger and Razor, and only 7k on the Luna.
Yeah.
As much as she's gone into tank items right now, she's still going to drop quick.
Yeah, and I mean, if she had like a Hand of Midas and a Helm of the Dominator right now, obviously her net worth would be a lot higher, but you could make a case that, well, she's got the farming tools to make a recovery, but the Helm of the Dominator just really isn't enough for her to accelerate her farm to catch the leaders of Not Today. Down bottom, we'll see initiation on the Mihawk. They use the Doom, Fissure to follow up, and they will find the kill on the Faceless Void. 11-1, Union Gaming get on the board here at the 20-minute mark.
1 kill hype.
Yep.
Comeback time, boys. But yeah, the Doom obviously negating the backtracks. No RNG for you.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they'll probably take a tower off of it. I mean, we'll see the Sand King. They'll get a good scout off. They'll say, okay, well, everybody's here. They're not going to be able to stop us. So even with this fortification, it's just going to be an easy push. But they're worried. They're really worried about the Sand King. Because if you look at the Dire Vision, they have exactly 1 ward up, and they only have 2 people on the map.
Yeah, well, I guess right to be scared, but now they'll have to come mid to try and defend their tier 2, and I think Not Today will still be pretty happy with this trade, a tier 2 for a tier 1, and that'll be the end of the outer towers. Now the Ag Scepter is up for the Wind Ranger, so Smash can move into whatever scary carry items he wants. I guess Crit is probably the most sensical as your next item choice here, or maybe the Mjolnir. So I guess do you even bother upgrading it if you're on the Wind Ranger? You can see the lightning procs there right on the Luna as Smash solos him down. So tooltips or not, Blaze, you can definitely Maelstrom through that focus fire.
Yep, really, really powerful. Aghanim Scepter was obviously the big one because I think the most important part is how low the cooldown is now. Yep. Going from, I think, like a 60-second plus cooldown down to 15 is absolutely immense. But yeah, you could go for the full Mjolnir. That would not be bad at all. Crit, like you mentioned, is not too shabby either. Sheepstake is probably my preference here, just to kind of really cement the advantage, but
yeah.
It's whatever Smash wants.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the Sheepstick on the Wind Rangers, it gives her a decent bit of damage as well. But now Maelstrom up on the Void, and there's the beginnings of a pipe. Mystico picks up the Hood of Defiance, and he is one of the squishier heroes, so now he'll be able to absorb all that yummy lightning damage. Zeus does have a Blink Dagger. Citadel making some strides in the right direction. He is level 10. Still hasn't quite found that second point in Thunder God's Wrath, but not to fear. He's a little bit more mobile now. And the other big item pickups, Doom has gone for a Blade Mail, of all things. I guess that's pretty good against the Wind Ranger, but does quell some of his aggressive power. Mystico on the high ground, bumps right into Jericho. Connects to the Burrow Strike, and he is hasted up, but still gets hexed, shackled. Wards come down, smashes there. Beautiful shackle on 2. That'll bring down the Shadow Shaman. Ben Jazz will get caught in the Chrono, and that will make it a 2-0. Now they'll go in onto Citadel, doing a lot of damage to Mihawk. He falls to the Fissure, but it will cost the Zeus his life. It's a 2-for-3, and solo Echo right onto Smash, but Smash is not too much worse for wear. He brings down the Earthshaker. Angel, he gets cleaned up, and it's a 2-for-5 exchange, Blaze. Not today. Looking pretty good.
They're all dead, man. I don't know what else to say. Right now, they just have so little options for coming back into this game. I mean, the BKB on Luna would be huge, but even then, Ewo is starting to look really big. With this Aghanims out of the storm, he's really flaunting his potential damage, and it's all physical. So that's going to be very difficult for Luna to deal with, even if she isn't facing a Hex pretty soon. But we do see that Ultimate Orb come out onto Smash, and Hex it will be. So it's going to take a little bit more time to farm that up.
Yeah, I hate to call it too early, Blaze, but this one's feeling pretty over. That last
never give up. It's Zeus is level 11, man.
Yeah,
Huge
never give up,
damage.
never surrender. The wise words of Tim Allen, but sometimes it's not so bad just to cut your losses, I suppose. We'll see Not Today move right into the Roche Pit, and it looks like Smash will take heed to your advice. The Ultimate Orb comes out, and seems to be the beginnings of a Scythe of Ice.
Yeah, pretty clean pickup for him. It will probably not be finished by the time this game is over if our current rate of exchange is trending. But, you know, we'll see the Aegis come out. Oh, Angel goes in from behind. This is an interesting movement.
Yeah, Citadel's already died, though, as he gets shackled. Ewo gets doomed and hasn't used the Eye of the Storm, so I guess that is a good doom, worthy of the cause, but the follow-up damage just isn't there. He'll survive easily, turns for the right clicks. Luna comes in with the ulti there, but It just tickles at this point. Chronosphere comes out on the low ground. Luna and Shadow Shaman fall. UG have had enough. They'll get completely scraped up. A 5-0. 322 the dream. I suppose it's reality this game plays, as NoT Today take a very dominant win in this match of Starladder America.
What is 22-3? A reverse throw here? Or?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, inverse 322. I'm sure Twitch chat will still be happy that all of their dreams have come true, though.
Most definitely. Very nicely done by NoT Today. The way they were able to play that out, even though like the Faceless Void had a bit of a rough time, the Doom's offlane experience was even worse. And it was just that kill momentum. Starting off, they got the kill, the first blood, the second blood, and like, what, 9 more to follow? Like, they didn't lose any lives for the longest of time, and finally they started committing even harder to fights, which cost them a little, but gained them so much more. 10-0-6, that's your Smash Win Ranger, and that is NoT.
Well, coming up next, we've got Shadows of the Past versus the Dream Destroyers. We'll be coming up after a decent break. That was a quick one, as we're back on schedule, so enjoy the tunes, folks. Blaze and I will be back after this break. 2 more matches of Starladder America coming up.